Hi, I'm Kyle Bangeter, Service Engineer for Polaris Engineered Accessories. In this video, we're going to walk through how to install a cab seal kit for your full-size Ranger vehicle. Cab seal kits for this line of vehicles are included with the door kit. When purchasing a cab for these vehicles, we're going to walk through the recommended order of installation. First, we'll start by installing our cab seal kit, then our doors, followed by our front and rear windshield, and then our roof. In this case, our vehicle already has a windshield pre-installed, and next we're going to go to the cab seal kit. Let's get started. To start installing the seal kit, we're going to begin removing our body panels, starting with the hood and the fender. The fender is retained with push darts and T40 torque screws. Next, we'll remove the driver and passenger seats, as well as the bins located underneath the seats. The left and right bin are free to be removed. The center bin is held down by torque screws. We can remove the screws on the center bin, but we'll leave the bin in place and work around that later as we install the kit. Next, we'll remove our B-pillar plastic covers and our rocker panels. These are retained again with push darts and Torx head screws. Before removing our left side B-pillar plastic, be sure to loosen the hose clamp located behind so that the ducting can stay with the vehicle and the cover can come off on its own. When removing the driver's side rocker panel, be sure to loosen the hose clamp located just behind the driver's side fuel cap. After removing the rocker panel, apply a cover to the fuel line so that nothing can contaminate the fuel in the tank. Next, we're going to move the rear panel behind the seats. To remove this, we're going to lift our rear box and remove the fasteners along the top of the panel and along the bottom. Once we've removed all the fasteners from our rear panel, we'll also loosen the hose clamp located just behind the seat base in the driver compartment. With that loosened, we'll be able to remove the rear panel from the vehicle. Our first foam seal will be installed just underneath the dash here. We've removed some additional components to make it a little bit easier to see where the components of foam go and to make it a little easier to install. When you're installing this seal kit, you may choose to remove some additional plastic pieces to make it easier for yourself as well. When installing, always be sure that all surfaces are properly cleaned so that our foam properly adheres. Either use water or an alcohol-based cleaner. Do not use Windex or Pledge or other types of cleaners of that nature. They may leave a residue that does not allow the foam to properly adhere. Also, when installing all of our seal components, be sure to dry fit first. Do not remove the adhesive. First test fit, then once we've confirmed the fit, we'll remove the backer and apply with adhesive. Our first piece needs to be cut from the package. Reference the template at the back of the kit instructions to cut the foam block to the correct length. Then we'll dry fit the piece in place to make sure it fits properly. Once we've confirmed that, we'll remove, take off the backer, and reinstall with the adhesive. Once in place, be sure to press firmly to allow the adhesive to properly adhere to the frame. Our next foam piece will be installed on the driver's side in front of the dash. The short leg of the foam piece will install into the tube frame here. The longer leg will tuck behind the second tube frame here. So we'll insert into the tube frame and tuck the second leg behind. Note that the adhesive on this piece of foam stays in place until we're ready to reassemble our fenders onto the vehicle. Next, we've got an additional foam block that will go just below this one and wrap the corner. This one we can remove the adhesive in place. Our next seal will go on the driver's side just behind the dash. We can see the matching profile from the seal and the plastic on the chassis. Again, pre-fit and then remove the seal and place. In this case, start along the bottom, applying the adhesive, and work around. Tuck the rest of the foam seal in so that it sits flush with the plastic. Moving to the front passenger side of the vehicle, we again have our profiled foam piece here. The short leg will insert into the square tube. Longer leg tucks behind the frame again, just like the driver's side. Seal stays on this piece again until we're ready to install the fender. Just like on the driver's side, we had to have another profiled piece of foam. This closes off the contoured opening on the right side of the dash. For additional sealing, you can also cover up both of these holes located in the dash panel. We would recommend using some form of tape to seal the hole off. Note that once we reinstall the front dash, this will no longer be visible. So it's not important about the color of tape, but we can seal the hole and that'll be covered up with the body plastics again. Moving from the front of the vehicle to the rear, we're now going to install our next seal that surrounds our brake master cylinder. To properly install this seal, we're going to cut at the center of the base of these notches. Cutting that seal will allow us to install on both sides of the bracket. Next, we'll be installing the seal along the rear of our floor pan. To help with installation, we can use a wood block or other spacer, flex the floor pan forward, and allow ourselves some space to work. Again, dry fit our piece, make sure that the notches align with the proper location in the floor pan and that the adhesive is facing the front. Once we've done our test fitting, we'll remove our backer and begin installation. Now that we have the full seal installed, you'll notice that there is some extra seal that is sticking out beyond the floor pan. Once we reinstall our rocker panels, this piece of foam will be compressed and close off air through the corner of the bend in the seat support. Our next foam seal will be installed along the back of the seat base. Note that this piece is directional, so there's a left and a right. All we need to do is make sure that our holes line up with the fasteners in the seat base. So we'll dry fit this piece, ensure that all of our holes line up, and note that this foam seal does tuck underneath the bins. Once we're happy with our dry fit and alignment, then we can peel back and begin the installation. Next, we'll have two foam blocks that install just behind the back of the seat base. Note that these blocks are slit so that they will lay between the different ribs here on our frame. So we'll dry fit, we're happy with the fit. Come back and reinstall. These two blocks are the same, so we do have another on the driver's side of the vehicle as well. Our next two pieces of seal are symmetrical, so we'll have to check to make sure we're installing the correct driver's side and passenger side seal for these. Note that the two adhesive panels go down and the stepped side of the block goes towards the outside of the vehicle. We'll test fit and then we'll remove the single piece of adhesive and this piece of adhesive, leaving the adhesive on the leading edge of the seal. Next, we'll install our rectangular block seals. This one is located just behind the driver's seat on the weldment where our roll frame is attached to our main frame. We'll test fit. The piece wraps around the corner, just like that. Once we're happy with our dry fit, we'll remove the seal. And apply the block around the corner. Firmly press the seal into place, and then we'll repeat in the same location on the passenger side of the vehicle. Our next foam seal will be installed to the inside bottom of the rear panel of the vehicle. Make sure that we line up our slot here in the seal to match the slot on the panel. Again, dry fit. Make sure that our holes line up, and then we'll begin installing. Our next foam seals we'll install along the top of the ROPS at the seam we see here. Again, dry fit. Check the location. Ensure that the leading edge of the seal starts at the bottom corner here. Once we're happy with that test fit, we'll pull off our strip. And again, we'll start at the bottom of that corner, evenly covering the seam all the way up. This process is again repeated on the passenger side of the vehicle as well. We've now installed all the different pieces of our foam cab sealing kit. This kit is going to help us keep dust and any airborne dirt out of the cab once we have this all sealed up with our doors, windshield, rear panel, and roof. When we're reinstalling our body components, be sure that our bins ride on top of the foam here, and that we reinstall our hose clamps as well to get a proper clamp on anything we disassembled, both in the center here and on the driver's side. When doing our final assembly and putting our plastics all back on the vehicle, be sure that anywhere where we left our adhesive covered, we remove our covers and we allow that seal to adhere to the plastics as we install them on the vehicle. We're going to keep our B-pillar plastics off for now. Those will be reinstalled after our door installation is complete. For any questions about Polaris engineered accessories, visit your local Polaris dealer or check out the Polaris website.